Hello again. We are starting with the diversity management part of today's discussion. We'll have 20-25 minutes to discuss diversity management, how to understand the power of diversity in teams, something we already discussed a little bit in Finnish a bit earlier. We have today two people here discussing, Pierre Jallo and Camilla Sultanova, and I let them introduce themselves. Pierre, please.
Hello, everybody. It's been interesting.
Hello.
It's been interesting hearing the different discussions. I'm Pierre Jallo, head trainer for MOC Cultural Competence Training Program, founder, CEO of WeBridge, a company that connects Nordic and Baltic business to the African markets, as well as Remote, which is a new initiative with Fin Partnership, Fingo, and a few other organizations. Excited to be here.
You're not here, unfortunately, but
I meant here.
I have somebody with me here in the studio. Camilla, please.
Yes. Well, hi everyone, and hi Pierre on the other side. Hi everyone who has joined to this exciting event. I'm also very excited to be here in person. I work as public speaker and trainer in diversity inclusion. I do all kinds of things connecting different kinds of cross-sectoral collaborators, cities, higher education institutions. I work with Business College, Helsinki, and I have an NGO called Global Dignity, where we work with Helsinki region secondary schools and colleges to empower youth to their future careers, to feel valuable and worthy. And I believe this diversity is our future, also in Uusimaa. So nice to be here.
So diversity is future. Why is it future? Why is it important? Pierre?
It's a skill that everybody understands is a must-have, because when we look at our world today, whatever goes on in New York the next second, you can hear and understand it in a small place in Senegal. Similarly can be said in China as well, and not only in terms of social media, but then in terms of ease of travel. And therefore, this means that everybody is moving, which also translates into settling down in more places, and therefore more diversity in all these different countries that we live in. So it is key. We all are going to meet people from other cultures. We all are going to have colleagues from other backgrounds, and it's just about time that we all need to get along and get over it, right?
That's right.
What does it bring to organizations?
I mean, you can look at very different studies that support the importance of diversity. You can date back to, for example, Di Stefano and Musnevsky in their, what was it, I think 1960 study, or was it a bit earlier in the early 2000s, when they talked about the importance of diversity performance in multicultural teams or monocultural teams, that multicultural teams or diverse teams perform much better than monocultural teams, but then also these same multicultural teams have a bigger potential to be less performing.
Mm.
And there are reasons behind that, but we can discuss that later, of course.
Yeah, I can also add on this that working myself, I have a shipping career before starting my own consulting on diversity inclusion, and I've been, shipping is so global. So you represent your customer, you represent a lot of, set of different competencies, varieties when you sit and negotiate contracts, and you basically are much more enhance your decision-making power in the teams. And taking it at the moment now in the second year of coronavirus pandemic, we need much more critical skills to companies to pivot their businesses and to also find that way to come out to new markets. And Finland is a vientimaa, it's an export country, as also as Denmark, where I lived before. So when you think of diverse teams, the study shows that 70% cultural diverse teams are more likely to capture new markets, and 75% where ideas will turn to products. And that's, it's great we have that research, because it makes you believe. And the last thing is, with culturally diverse teams, I know that we need to think of different diverse elements in our teams, but 36% increase in profits, the McKinsey study. I think everyone knows it by heart, Pierre, as well. So in that sense, Finland and Finnish companies can't afford it, and neither do startups, neither do trade unions, also foundations, also Uusimaa-viikko. So we also all need this diversity for our own well-being and our own sustainability. And that's why I think I'm so also passionate to see it, because that's gives us reason to be here as trainers, because we're promoting sustainability of everybody's wealth, well-being, and growth. We need to make money.
If you think about Finnish companies, I think though you can say that the big Finnish companies, big organizations, they know this already.
Yes.
Of course, there must be some gaps, there must be something, but they know it. But when you go to the middle-sized and small companies, I think that there is a big problem in Finland, and I think it's because the leaders, the CEOs of smaller companies, they are afraid of diversity. They are not used to it. There is something. There is like some sort of a block between, like, "Ooh, I don't know what to do, how to do this, etc." Do you see this the same way?
Absolutely. I think it also speaks of the fear. But what needs to be tackled, and this can liaise maybe to what Camilla was saying, what needs to be understood is that if you want growth, monocultural groups are not gonna do it at the end of the day, or at least they can only take you so far. How you get growth, whether it's you want growth in your body or growth in your business, you have to push the limits. And how you push the limits especially is when you're able to have people from diverse backgrounds who get good leadership in order to not be afraid of who they are or where they come from or their own thoughts, and therefore be able to contribute all these diverse thoughts that would hopefully lead to growth and new solutions. So I would pinpoint on these two, but yes, I see it quite a lot in many companies.
I can also add that it's not necessarily. It could be fear, but also could be the way that Finnish companies, as also it's part of Finnish culture. It's to be humble and to think sometimes small of your organization and think who would come work for me. And then you have another conflicting statistics, which was done by Hofstede Insights, that 70% of Finnish managers, they're afraid of cultural growth in their team. So how do you tackle that is to kind of, someone has to do this, start to push and bring those different programs that bring companies together. And I believe so much in seeing is believing, is that if someone has done something, you bring that visibility to those who break the barriers, the first employee hired or the one who really got, revenue out of the company. And then everyone just starts, believing that, hey, we actually can work together. And then I think in every region, in Helsinki, in Finland as well, we need these kind of role models, both companies. So we have Nokia and UPM now closing the pay gap, but then they will also make other companies say, oh, we need to catch up on this, So we have small companies can learn from middle size, and middle size can learn from big ones. But then we also need those cross-sectoral collaborations, which Uusimaa-viikko, for example, supports. And I've been part of this. The whole national strategy to close talent gap is the talent boost. And I've been part of talent boost since it started, to see the network of people from public municipalities, to see people from schools, universities, lobby organizations. And so what really brings companies together is university talent pools, permanent mentoring programs, not just this rahoituskokeilu. Now it's already tried, dusted, it's proven to be done. So we need those like permanent mentoring programs, and we need permanent ambassador programs that, for example, in Tampere, they're doing a great job. So how can we also empower also young entrepreneurs, people who are already in Finland? We have Aalto full of research and scientists, bring them over, represent their city, their kuntas. We have Lahti doing great stuff on green city of Europe or something, right?
Yeah.
So
green
I
capital.
Yes, and my whole family comes from Hame, and I have to go to Lahti, sightseeing. I haven't been there yet because I've been mostly in Asikkala. But another things that work is this whole award change makers within public sector. There's a rise of new public entrepreneur, those one who, silon murtajat, I think you heard that, to break these walls inside these structures. And Citra is a great example, driving Citra Lab, Changemaker Labs, to bring people who are used to work in their departments. And now we need to open up, bring in MOC, peers organization, do the cultural training. I'm here to also showcase how we bring this inclusive leadership skills. Everyone wants to be curious, but no, you start, Alexi, you start then, and then I'll be curious afterwards, right? So it's a combination of showcasing the platforms which the whole government provides. There's different incubators, and then you have those who are people who are really stubborn and open-minded to deliver on projects, which are really nicely. I mean, we have a lot of great projects. They just don't continue for some reason.
Finland is a country of projects.
Yeah. Projectification, right?
So, Pierre, you're also on a pilgrimage in Finland trying to promote diversity.
Well, yes. I come from a different background. I was born and raised in Gambia. I've lived in over 8 countries, worked, not just visited. And one of the things that actually I don't understand. So one of the contradictory things is that we talk about sisu, suomalainen sisu, but then we don't necessarily give people with immigrant background as much opportunities as they should have. And I think this is the group that actually has the sisu. If you think of most of the people with immigrant background, their whole point is, I have to be successful because, I am not from here, and wherever you might be, I am not from here. I have to work double, triple as hard to be able to get to where I am. So if you want real sisu in your companies, the point is you need to be able to be more diverse in your staff. But this is not easy work. That's why not everybody does it. It's not easy work because very simple things can be misunderstood. In your earlier talk, some of them were talking about, they had some great points, and some of them was trust, being able to have trust, working together as a team, having a common goal. Great stuff. But how we interpret these things are so different. Simple words as trust, as time, are interpreted so differently. So I can come with the assumption that I should trust. I trust what we're doing now. But there are others who come in with this idea that let's do first, I'll trust later. There are some who come in with this idea of trust as a short-term thing based on the competencies we have that we bring to the table. There are others who come in to build relationship trust, long-term trust. They don't come to the job just to work. They're coming in to build long-term relationships because they're thinking life is more than just work, right? So these are problems that we have, and these are issues that you have to deal with not once, not twice, but have to have a strategy. So when Camilla talks about having long-term mentoring programs, it should be that. It shouldn't be these project thingies where you have 3 years this, 2 years that. It needs to be structured.
Yeah, Camilla, you wrote when we were having some emails. You wrote about the talent boost and immigrant employment. How does it clash or combine with those immigrants who are now in Finland and unemployed? What did you mean exactly with that?
Yeah, so just to kind of summarize. So talent boost is a strategy to close the talent gap in Finland, which requires work-based migration from abroad. And every municipality, every kunta is competing that those who come here will live in Espoo or in Lahti or in Kokkola. So all of this money is put to really navigate and integrate newcomers. But then when we say that out loud, which is true, demographic figures, it's out there as a fact, then we see a lot of NGOs, and I'm a member of many NGOs, Facebook groups like International Working Women Finland, we have International Job Seekers Helsinki, for example. A lot of them are backlashing these projects saying that, but we are here, nobody hears us, nobody sees us. So the communication of Talent Boost is not equally done in that sense to collaborate, because everyone who comes here at some point, they will be talking to TE-toimisto. Then you're not necessarily an international. Then you're like, hey, tervetuloa Suomeen. Pitäisi oppia suomea, Like these kind of polkus are needed for both. We will always have expert migrants, especially in gaming industry, science, startup. But what I would wish for is to get much more cultural, this immigrant representation in these Talent Boost programs. When they know why we're doing what we're doing, there will be also nice cohesion between different groups who are here. And we cannot speak to two people as cherry picking, two groups of people. We are all one. And we all deserve equal treatment. Tasa-arvo is like it's written in our Finnish DNA, right? So I feel this is where it can clash if it's not communicated rightly with the, let's say, if only Talent Boost program done by ethnic Finns and no culturally diverse Finns are part of this, it just doesn't make sense ethically to me. So, and I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying that we need to move on and be more open-minded, more stubborn, and to be this kind of personality that that you bring people together because you hire for competence. And that competence is a different set of lived experiences, different set of, lived experience, but also, perspectives on things, how we run projects. So, and I would think it's also responsible for taxpayers' money to have that representation of internationals, driving services for internationals, and same for immigrants, driving services for immigrants. I think that was my definition, to push the limits, what we can do more there.
How do you see this, Pierre? Different groups coming to Finland, starting from different levels, of course.
Yeah, I think it's important. Now, I understand the other side that Camilla was talking about. The other side not saying that, hey, we're here, we need attention too, because you're here, you came through the system, you've done your studies, just to get a job, just time to get a job, and you don't get any opportunities. And many of these people are very, very talented. For example, in Uusimaa-viikko here, there's a program called TAT for people with immigrant background who are looking for work. So I can count maybe at least 5 people with PhDs who are in that program who haven't had an opportunity to get a job. And we're talking about boosting the talent. But I have to say that this is one of my also pet peeves, because I know that these are two very separate things. It cannot be just one thing. And I think what makes being in this cultural competence sector, group so disturbing sometimes is that between the group itself, there is not much cohesion. There are too many people, too many groups doing this, like fighting against each other or working against each other. And I think that's not helpful when you're actually trying to get to the goal of building a more diverse Finland, where our diverse teams can actually take over the world.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Camille. Unfortunately, our studio time is coming to an end. I think you had fantastic points about how diversity simply makes companies and organizations more effective. It's not only being human and being nice, but it's really, from the business point of view, it's more effective. So we should have more sort of a long-term commitment and less projects that come and go. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now 1 minute pause and we'll continue the rest of the program. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.